Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be solving Move Semantics. The first task says, having trouble to solve this one, click Get Int button for help. Okay, so let's check the main code. So we have the main function. Um, we have let's array 0 equals to, so we're creating a new array right here where we have another new variable here, and then we are passing this created array to this function, to this fill array function. So this is just a print statement for arrays, don't change it. To do, fix the code, fix the error here without modifying this line. Okay, so we are appending. Okay, we are to fix this error without modifying the line. Okay, so where the issue is coming from is pretty obvious. So the issue with the code is that array1 variable that is being passed, array1 variable that is being created here, right, is immutable. You know, variables in Cairo are, they are immutable by default. So for you to be able to like change or mutate it, you have to like put the mute keyword. So right here, when we are creating the variable, at this point it's immutable, and then right here we're trying to append 88 into this array, which wouldn't work unless we add a mute keyword to it, and that should solve the text. Yes, there we go. Let's move to the next task. So the next task says make me compile without changing line 7, or moving line 4. Okay, so let's check what is in there. We are creating, instantiating an array here. We're creating an array here, array 0, and then we have array 1, which is mutable, and then calling this fill array function, passing in this, right? So we are meant to not change this following line. We have okay, we have the fill array, function, which takes in an array, right, creates, and then we append in. Okay, so the key to solving this code is that, if you notice, array 0 right here is moved to this fill array function when it's passed, but before it's being moved, right, or even after it's being moved, we need it right here to print the values in the array 0, right? So this actually is all about ownership in Cairo, which is very similar to that of the Rust ownership system. The ownership rule states that For every value in Cairo has a single owner at a given time. It has to be a single owner at a given time. When you pass Another rule states that when you pass a value to a function, the ownership is moved to that function. And that is exactly what is happening right here. We initially had this, which was keeping the ownership in the main function. And right here, we are moving this variable into this fill array function. And then the last ownership rule states that once ownership is moved, you can't use the original variable anymore. And that, if we try to compile this program, is going to throw an error, because at this point this to we already moved the ownership from here to this function, and then we are still trying to print out the variables, the values in the array, right? So what we basically need to do um, is to come here, um, array 0 dot clone. I'm gonna explain that in a minute. Okay. Let's compile at first and see. That should work just fine. Okay. So what we just did here is fix this code by cloning this array. We are just cloning this array. So cloning this array means that this it's just like you having an original copy. The original copy is array 0, and then at this point, you're creating a clone, more like, I will not call it a fake, right? A look-alike. You're cloning it to this variable right here. So what you're passing at this point is not array 0, but a clone of array 0. So at this point, we still have the ownership in the main function for array 0, and then this still works, and this as well works. So the reason why we're using dot clone is because some types in Cairo, like all these singular types, integer, felt alike, they implement the copy trait by default, right? Which means they are automatically copied when passed around, right? But with types like array, array doesn't implement copy because arrays can be large, right? And copying them can be expensive. So that is why we need to like explicitly clone sorry explicitly clone when we want to copy. So we're just creating a copy right here. So you can just think of it like, okay, you have a book, and then you want to give the book to someone. So at that point, the book that you have is the variable. We are using the book as a variable, right? You have the book initially, which you're the owner of, and then you lend this book to somebody. At the point where you lend this book to somebody, the book is no longer in in your hands, is no longer with you, so you are not able to read that book, you get. So at that point we can say the owner of the book, as regards to ownership, the ownership rules in Cairo, we can say the ownership, the owner of that book at that point is the person you borrowed, you lent the book to, right? So you are not able to access the book at that point. That is exactly what is happening here. So let's move to the next task. So the next task says, make me compile without adding new lines, just changing existing lines. No lines with multiple semicolons necessary. So we have the main function with we're creating an array here, array 0, and then we have array 1 as well. We are passing in array 0 to this function, right? So when we pass, what is happening here? When we pass array 0 to this function, so it's going to, is appending, okay, it's appending this variable. So we're supposed to have, at this point, we're meant to have something like in the array, um 22, 44, and 66, right? Yes. So print array 1 dot span, print, and then we want to append a new value to array 1, which is supposed to give us 22, 44, 66, and 88, right? Right, and then print it at this point. So let's compile and see what the issue is. Okay, it says that something went wrong with your code. Array.append ref argument must be a mutable variable. Ref argument must be a, okay. Okay, we are passing in a value to this function that is not mutable. Okay. Okay. So the fix to this code, okay, the this code gives a compile error because in this fill array function we can't mutate array directly since it's not marked as mutable, right? And so what we just need to do is add mute to the parameter so we can now modify the array inside the function. That's basically what we need to do. So that should work just fine. So it should work as expected. Yeah, it does work. It does work. Let's move to the next task. So we have, says refactor this code so that instead of passing array 0 into the fill array function, the array gets created in the function itself and passed back to the main function. Okay, so they don't want us to do this. Sorry, Control Z. Oh, we just need to remove this, right? We need to remove that. and film. Okay, move this. So field should no longer take. Okay, yes, you shouldn't. We want to create the array inside of here. So we basically need to array traits. Okay. Um, that should work just fine now. So we are creating this we are creating array here, appending here, appending all these values inside, all these items inside the array. So inside the array we have 22, 44, 66, and then we return the array. So once we return the array, okay, yes, this is what we are returning. But once we call the fill function right here, we assign it to array one, and at this point, uh, the values, the items from this array are being returned, right, and then it's capturing, it prints it out here, it gets printed out here, and would have um 22, 44, 66, right, and then once we append the new item 88. So we have four items right in the array one. So this and 88. Okay, so let's compile our code. Okay, so our code compiled successfully. Let's move to the next. Task 5 says make me compile only by reordering the lines in the main function, but without adding, changing, or removing any of them. We just need to reorder the lines in this function. So we do not need to add, change, or remove any of them. Okay, so um we are creating a mutable variable of a here, a mutable array, and then we have a mutable variable of b. We are calling pass by value, and then we pass in the value of a that was created right here, and then pass by reference. um, we'll pass a by reference, pass b by reference, pass by snapshot. Okay, so um okay, the issue here is about ownership. If you remember what I said from the last I think from the tax 2 or tax 3, that every every value in Cairo must have one owner at a time, right? It must be one owner at a time. So the issue here is about ownership and borrowing. So when we pass a by value right here, we lose ownership. So we are passing the ownership here, from this main function to this pass by value function, right? And then we we need to ensure all references are used before we pass the ownership to this pass by value function. So what we just basically need to do is to use command Z, okay, use this pass by ref with A while we still own it. And then we also need to use this pass by ref by snapshot. We're just taking a snapshot, right? That's just reading, the value of A. We're not mutating it, right? While we still own it. So pass A by value to get B. So ownership of A is moved once we pass it into this function, and then everything should work just fine. So let's test. Yes, our code compile just fine. So let's move to the next task. So the next task says you can't change anything except adding or removing references. Okay, good. So we have a struct of number which has a value of type U32, and we have function main. Inside the main function, we're creating a variable, and then we are basically writing this value to the struct number, right? And then we're calling the get value with the number. Get value should not take ownership and not modify the variable passed. Okay, basically this is just supposed to read. You're just supposed to read the value. We do not want to take ownership. So that means it's obvious what we need to do already. Set value, we are passing in the number. So for the get value, what we basically just need to do is to take a snapshot. That's what we need to do. And for set value, take a ref, right? This one should take, you should take ownership. We want to take ownership of the number since it's setting uh, the number right here. So we're just going to add art, which is a snapshot. Same to this place, and then we pass a ref. Same here. Okay, so let's compile the code and see. And that should work. Oh, the code failed. Oh, we have unexpected return type. Expected call integer U32 found. Okay, returning. Okay. So we are returning in this get value function, we are returning number dot value, which is of U32 type, right? But we hold on. Okay, we are returning number dot value from a snapshot reference. Is not from the original is not from the original variable. It's from a snapshot reference. So since the return type is of U32, but we are accessing a field through a snapshot, so we need to copy the value from the snapshot. So what we just need to do is to add the asterisk sign to this. We add the asterisk sign to this to dereference asterisk to dereference this number dot value, right, when returning it. So this copies the value from the snapshot. It copies the value from the snapshot into the new U32. So when the thing is, when we're working with snapshots, which is art, which is just taking like a snapshot, like a camera, you're not modifying, you just want to get that, just want to read, okay, that explain, just want to read. So fields are actually accessed through snapshots. Field accessed through snapshot are also snapshots. That also you need to understand. So we need to dereference using this asterisk sign to get the actual value when returning when returning it. So this so what we are returning right here is at U32. So this is just it. So we are not returning the we are sorry, this is a mistake. What we are returning is U without this asterisk sign. What we are returning is U at U32. Sorry, did I say at U32? What we are returning is a snapshot of U32, but with this asterisk sign. Where are you? So what we are now returning is U32. I mean, if you want to return, I don't think it will work. If you want to return, we could have as well change. Okay, they said we can't change anything except adding or removing references. So I would have said we should add at to see if it's going to work, right? And let's compile. Great, the code submitted compiled successfully. So this has brings us to sorry, we have come to the end of the video. In the next video, we're going to solve traits. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.